Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Adrian Cruz. My topic for this session would be improving online teaching practices with Google Workspace tools or the Google Workspace for Education applications. Now, we've already been using the Google Workspace tools since last year or maybe earlier, even before the pandemic. These are some of the tools that we are familiar already. We've been using with our online deliverables for our teaching, for our productivity, for our even for our reports. But I would like to emphasize here some other tools that we haven't like explored yet. I already we know we're already in our second year of online teaching, especially in the Philippines, that we've been still doing remote teaching. And I think one of the primary concerns of our teachers right now is how to continuously or improve our engagement with our students, given that we have limited synchronous sessions with our students. With all of the tools around, we already know Google. We've been using Google, the search engine, anytime we want to search, right? If we have inquiries. But over the years, it has tremendously developed our skills when it comes to searching to become this tool to be part of our daily activities. And since Google has been very useful, um, they've really explored and took efforts when it comes to knowing the pain points and the needs of the teachers and students. So that's why these tools were created, not just for us to be able to do things remotely, but as well as to um, improve the 21st century skills of our students, such as their communication skills, their collaboration, their creativity, and most especially their critical thinking skills. Um, Now, these are the tools that we are currently using. Maybe you can also type in the chat section if you have your favorite Google Workspace tools. If you can see here in my screen, we have some of the apps that we are always using, or maybe our go-to tools when it comes to like doing our quizzes, doing our presentations, or even just checking our presentations. So we have your calendar, Google Meet forms, and the others. But what I would like to highlight for today's session, and that your primary take, my goal for today is also to be able to use these following applications already once we finish the session. Now, one application would be Google Drawings. Now, this is a diagramming software included as part of the free web-based Google Docs editors offered by Google. Now, this is one of the underrated applications of Google, but very, very useful. Now, I always tell this um, to the teachers, to my audience. When teachers ask me before what is Google Drawings, I always tell them it's like a photo editing application, or maybe like a soft application to edit images, to enhance, like cropping or creating images. But it's actually more than that, especially now that um, with this pandemic, it has really taught us how to be more creative, to be more resourceful. Now, this Google Drawing has a lot of potential when it comes to engaging our students. I'd like to show you some activities that you can already use. Now, our concern here is that if we do our synchronous session with our students, are they still here with us, or are they still connected with us? So our goal here is to come up with like mini lessons, or like we make sure that we chunk our strategies when it comes to synchronous session. We can do, for example, lectures for maybe 10 minutes or 5 minutes, and then cut and continue with like an engaging activity such as this one. Now, what's good about this kind of activities is that you can set it up as an activity sheet for your students. It's also nice that when you give these kinds of materials for your students, they would feel that they have ownership to the material that you're giving. It gives them the opportunity to explore also through these kind of materials. And at the same time, we are also leading our students towards independent learning. So these are some activities that I'd like to show you, but later on, I'll be shifting from like an hands-on activity that we can do and demonstrate. So this is a sample, also a sample activity. For example, if you're an English teacher, you can come up with like activities where you can put all your vocabulary words into boxes and give them instructions to just drag all the following options. So it's like rehashing the old materials that you have, maybe in printed or maybe in other file format, to make it even more engaging. Since the Google Workspace for Education tools, they have a lot of collaborative features. Now, this also applies to like math subjects or even all of the other subjects that you're dealing with. Now, I'd like to show you one more example for the Google Drawings. This is like a drag and drop activity and an all-in-one material for your students. Since I'm a science teacher, I'd like to use this one as an example. I've already prepared this material ahead of time. So just in case you want to go to this application and follow me, you can just type in drawings.google.com. Once you type this in your search section or your search box, it will automatically redirect you to this application. It's free, no need to install anything. Now, just to give you and hopefully inspire you, this is a sample activity for science teachers wherein you can just use the page and even the outside portions of the application to give everything for your students, like put the instructions. This is actually an image that I've already searched, right? And if I want something like a draggable activity where students will identify each parts. Now, what you have to do is just download or copy a specific image that you really want and just put it here. If you've seen here in my presentation, on the left portion, I've inserted here a text box and colored it with specific color where I can put here the instructions. Now, to set everything up for the students, I have come up with like different boxes to all of the labels. For example, this one. So assuming that we've already done everything, right? So once we give the link to each of our students, they all have the ability to work on this material. And at the same time, what's also good about these tools is that you can link other resources. Like for example, if you want them to watch a specific YouTube video, for example, this one, you can just copy. Okay. You can just copy links from, for example, a video. So you can give them instructions here. Just highlight the word that you want to emphasize, and then you can see here, insert link, and then you can just paste here the YouTube video. So they don't need to go to the actual YouTube website anymore. And then the other one, if we have like supplementary websites for other students, maybe for advanced students, or if you want them to explore more on the topic, you can also like copy other references and paste it somewhere here. Like for example, I've already prepared you for more readings, kindly access this website. So I'm just gonna highlight the word website and then go to the link again and then paste it here. So what's good about this kind of material is that you can already set something like this, good for 1 week, for example, or one whole topic for the students, all in one material. You have your other resources like websites, videos, or maybe what you call this, even like quizzes. all you have to do is to have like links already prepared for your students. Now, the other one, just to further emphasize, if you haven't explored the other application of Google, this is Google Jamboard. This is an interactive whiteboard that offers rich collaborative experience for teams and classrooms. Now, you can also inject these kinds of activities for your students just to make sure if they're still there, if to also gather their thoughts. Like we have students that are very quiet, but they might be like they might have more inputs when you redirect them to an activity where there's typing involved. So these are some of the samples that I hope you might be inspired. This is also similar with Google Drawings, but this one would be in a more sticky note manner, or just also giving them um, opportunities to brainstorm and also gather their thoughts. So you can use this to engage them visually, to keep them active in your allotted synchronous session. And even for other like technical subjects, you can also do this with Jamboard. Now, just to give you more inspiration, I'd like you to access this material. It's tinyurl.com/thfsel jam. So this is also an activity that you can use for your students, especially that we're still in remote teaching. We have to make sure also that to keep on checking with our students. We can also integrate or inject social emotional learning with our students. So this is an example activity that you can also use for your students. For example, you have an instruction: drag a diamond to the color or word that best describes your feeling right now. So this is something that could maybe spice up or like set up the mood of our students before starting the session, or maybe in the middle, or maybe at the end, just to make sure if they're okay, or so this is also important in every subject, since we are still in this difficult situation. And if you can see here, you can also monitor if your students are still with you. You can see that they're doing it, they're collaborating. So this is something that they could also enjoy. Now, another one here, I'm going to go to the next portion. You could further elaborate their what they did here in the first frame. In the second frame here, you can also ask them, click on the sticky note icon, reflect and write a sentence using a word from the mood meter for how you feel. So they can also expound what they feel in the section. So this is something that you can use to gather thoughts, and also to also check their attendance at some point, or maybe use it as an exit ticket. So these are things that you can use. So many ways. There are so many ways to engage our students. We may be been seeing these tools before, but there are so many ways to be more creative, to introduce this to our students, so that we can make sure that they have meaningful learning experiences with you, with your lessons. For my key learning points here, one would be: understand and prepare your tech tools. What we should do as teachers is know the basic tools and applications that will match your learning objectives. So it's really important to check and prioritize our learning objectives. And then from all the tools that we've learned in the past, or what's continuously being offered to us, we check if that would match our learning objectives. Second would be interactive learning. Think of ways how to actively engage students during synchronous sessions. So for synchronous sessions, we have to make our efforts to engage our students. Third would be students' learning experience. So we have to maximize the allotted time towards effective online learning experience, and not just doing it for the sake of, finishing just the whole time for the requirements. We have to make sure that we are really maximizing the learning potentials of our students with every synchronous sessions with them. And for tips for everybody, plan for your online class. It's really important to plan. We have to be strategic on how to utilize our tools, our plans and activities for our students, whether for synchronous or asynchronous sessions. Second would be think in mini lessons. So I always tell this one, we have to break our lessons into maybe 10-minute mini lessons followed by an activity or practice period. This would really help them to um, make sure, especially they have like short attention span, most of our students now. So we have to give variations with our students. And third would be social emotional learning. This is really important, or what we call SEL. Consider integrating SEL into your lessons. It really encompasses the knowledge and skills students need to function in the world. So these are the tools that I hope after this session you can already use for your online classes. So again, with that, this is Adrian Cruz. Thank you very much for listening.